Introduction to probability. You can describe probability in words. For example, impossible, very unlikely, unlikely, even chance, likely, very likely, or certain. However, in maths, you're more likely to use fractions, decimals, or percentages. Let's look at 3 different outcomes. If something has an even chance of happening, we would write it as 50% as a percentage, a half as a fraction, and 0.5 as a decimal. If something was certain, it would be 100% as a percentage, as a fraction it would be 1, and as a decimal it would also be 1. And impossible as percentage would be 0%, a fraction would be 0, and a decimal would also be 0. You obviously have lots of different probabilities in between this, but I wanted to show you how it's listed as percentages, fractions and decimals with these 3 outcomes. Let's now have a look at how different probabilities are calculated. For example, let's look at the probability of rolling a die and it landing on 2. There's only 1 2 on the die out of a possible 6 outcomes. Therefore, the probability would be 1 out of 6. We can show this as a formula. So we have the number of favourable outcomes of a 2, which is just 1, divided by the total number of outcomes. So there are 6 altogether on the dice. So it's 6. The general formula for any event A is probability of A equals the number of favourable outcomes over the total outcomes. In this example, where probability of A is the probability of rolling a 2 on the die, which we call our event, and the favourable outcomes are the number of different ways to get a 2, which is just 1, and the total outcomes are the number of different outcomes we could get, which is 6. Let's say the word mathematics is made up using letter tiles. If we were to put all these tiles in a bag and pick one from random, what is the probability that the tile that you picked would be an M? So first of all, let's look at the formula. So PA equals favourable outcomes over total outcomes. So in this specific example, probability of A is the probability of choosing an M, so that's the event. And favourable outcomes, we have 2, as there are 1, 2 M's in mathematics, and altogether there are 11 total outcomes because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 letters. So the probability is 2 out of 11. However, if I was to ask what is the probability of not choosing an M, so it would be all the letters apart from M. Don't forget you can use your general formula, which is 1 minus probability of event, which in this case is a probability of choosing an M, which will be 1 minus, so probability of choosing an M was 2 over 11, therefore the probability of not choosing an M will be 1 minus 2 over 11, which is 9/11ths. Here's another example. Here we have 7 tile numbers, and what we want to find out is the probability of choosing a 4. So let's write down our general formula again. So probability of event A equals favourable outcomes divided by total outcomes, and here our event A is the probability of choosing a 4. So I can see from above there are 2 4s, so favourable outcomes, there are 2 of them, and altogether the total outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 2 out of 7. Then if we're asked the probability of not choosing a 4, so it's 1 minus the probability of choosing a 4. Now the probability of choosing a 4 was 2/7, therefore the probability of not choosing a 4 is 1 minus 2/7, so it's 5/7. Now it's your turn to answer some questions. Pause the video and then have a go. How did you get on? Here are the answers. If you answered any incorrectly, have a look back through the video and then try again.